President and the Senators of the Republic of the Philippines.
The 63rd session of the Senate, the first regular session of the 19th Congress, is hereby called to order. The chamber will be led in prayer by Senator Amy Marcos.
Dakilang Diyos, salamat po sa tuluyang paghupa ng COVID-19 sa aming bansa. Pag-angat ng ating ekonomiya, paglakas ng negosyo, at pagdami ng may trabaho. Patawad po sa aming mga pagkukulang sa inyo, sa aming bayan, at pati na rin sa aming mga pamilya. Ingatan niyo po ang mga namumuno sa aming bayan, lalong-lalo na ang ating mga senador, at protektahan kami laban sa mga kapahamakan, kalamidad at mga sakuna. Kagaya ng oil spill sa Mindoro na sana'y makontrol na, ang ASF, ang agri-smuggling at inaasahang hamon ng tagtuyot. Hiling namin na mapayapang maresolba ang territorial dispute sa West Philippine Sea, hustisya sa Digamo case at iba pang mga krimen. Manguna po sana kayo para maging matatag kami sa paglutas ng problema ng ating bansa at pamilya. Idinadalangin rin namin ang mga kababaihan ng ating bansa, lalo na ang mga solo mothers, na mag-isang itinataguyod ang kanilang mga pamilya, ang mga lolang patuloy sa pag-aruga ng kanilang mga apo, at mga kabataang babae na sa murang gulang pa lamang ay nagtatrabaho na para maitulong sa pamilya. Magsilbi pa ring ilaw ng tahanan ng ating mga minamahal na ina at mabigyan sila ng karampatang pagpupugay kahit hindi buwan ng kababaihan. Itong dalangin namin sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem by the Philharmonic Orchestra Double Quartet, as well as the singing of the Senate hymn and a rendition of a song called Hating Gabi by national artist Antonio Molina. Thank you very much to the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra Double Quartet for those wonderful rendition of songs. Maraming salamat po. Secretary, please call the roll of members.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the Journal of the 62nd Session, Wednesday, March 15, 2023, and consider the same as approved.
There being no objection to the motion of the Majority Floor Leader, motion is approved.
Mr. President, we are blessed and in full gratitude, Mr. President, for the presence of our guest in the gallery. We would like to welcome our guest, the delegation from the German Bundestag, the Honorable Gabriel Kaczmarek, the chairperson of the ASEAN Parliamentary Friendship Group, the Honorable Michael Mula, the Honorable Andreas Larem, the Honorable Jürgen Kudzi. They are accompanied by Her Excellency Anke Reifenstuhl, Ambassador of Germany to the Philippines.
To our distinguished colleagues and counterparts in the German Bundestag, welcome to the Philippines Senate, headed by, of course, Madam Gabriel Kaczmarek and the three other members of the Parliament, and as well as our ambassador. Welcome to the Senate. We'd like to take note that next year will be the 70th year of friendship between our two countries. I hope that this friendship will remain strong for another 100 years. So I will now suspend session to ask our colleagues to please proceed and say hello to our distinguished guests from the German Bundestag. Session suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, may I just be allowed to acknowledge some guests from the gallery. We have with us, Mr. President, Secretary Benjamin Jokno of the Department of Finance, Secretary Mina Pangandaman of the Department of Budget and Management, Secretary R.C. Balisacan of NEDA, BSP Governor Felipe Medalla, National Treasurer Rosalia V. De Leon, and Sec Commissioner MacGill Bryant Fernandez.
Welcome to your Senate, our distinguished colleagues from the executive branch, all the secretaries that are here today.
Thank you, Mr. President. Also with us, the Math Olympiads Training League Incorporated, led by its president, Engineer Karen C., 19 students who won gold medals at the World International Mathematical Olympiad, and their proud parents. We welcome them in their Senate, Mr. President.
Welcome to your Senate, ladies and gentlemen, the winners. Congratulations, the winners of the Mathematics Olympiad.
Also with us, Mr. President, officers of the Katipunan ng Liping Pilipina of Gumaca, Quezon, with Mayor Webster Letargo and Miss Justin Letango, Mr. President. Letargo, Mr. President.
Welcome to your Senate, our
We
distinguished
also have with us
fellow government
LGU
workers.
officials, Mr. President, of Santa Maria, Laguna, led by Mayor Cindy Carolino and Mayor Ben Patron of San Jose, Batangas. Also with us, officials of San Jose, Batangas, led by Mayor same Ben Patron, Mr. President. Government Corporate Council, Rogelio Quevedo, guest of Senator Mark Villar, and guest of Senator Lapid. The family, Mr. President, of Senator Lapid, Mr. Christopher Lapid, his brother, Mr. Florencio de la Cruz, Mr. Antonio de Jesus, Miss Estelita Daraman, and Catalina Marquez. LGU officials of Magallanes, Cavite, led by Mayor Jasmine Maligaya Bautista, and DAR Assistant Secretary Virgilio Mendez is also with us today, Mr. President.
Welcome to your Senate, ladies and gentlemen, those who are here today as our guests.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 1841. Printed copies of the bill were electronically distributed to the members on 15th of March 2023 in compliance with the 3-day rule in the Constitution.
To hasten the proceedings, Majority Leader, would you like to omnibussly state that all of these were submitted and distributed to the senators complying with the 3-day rule?
Yes, Mr. President. I so move, Mr. President.
Therefore, we proceed without any objection. We ask the Secretary to read the title and proceed with the roll call vote.
An act strengthening the conservation and protection of our national cultural heritage through an enhanced cultural policy and cultural mapping program. Amending for the purpose Republic Act number 10066 or the National Cultural Heritage Act of 2009. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
Yes. With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, Senate Bill number 1841 is approved on third reading. Congratulations to the sponsors.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 1594. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, please proceed, Secretary.
An act institutionalizing the One Town, One Product Philippines program, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, and 0 abstentions, Senate Bill number 1594 is approved on third reading. Congratulations to the sponsors.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations to the sponsor and the authors. Mr. President, at this juncture, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 1359. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, motion's approved. Please proceed, Secretary.
An act prohibiting the imposition of a no permit, no exam policy or any policy that prevents students enrolled in public or private educational institutions from taking examinations or any form of educational assessment for reasons of outstanding financial or property obligations such as unpaid tuition and other school fees. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, Senate Bill number 1359 is approved on third reading. Congratulations to the sponsors and authors.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 4635. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, motion is approved. Secretary, please proceed.
An act extending the term of office of the President of the Adyong Memorial State College from 3 years to 4 years in accordance with Republic Act number 8292, otherwise known as the Higher Education Modernization Act of 1997, further amending for the purpose Republic Act number 7935 as amended by Republic Act number 8651. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 4635 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 1864. So move, Mr. President.
There be no objection to the motion, motion is approved. Secretary, please proceed.
An act providing for a moratorium on the payment of student loans during disasters and other emergencies. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
Yes. With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, Senate Bill number 1864 is hereby approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6660. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, motion is approved. Ask the Secretary to proceed.
An act separating the Tacuran Technical Vocational High School, Baclay Extension in Barangay Baclay, Municipality of Tacuran, Province of Zamboanga del Sur, from the Tacuran Technical Vocational High School, converting it into an independent national high school to be known as the Baclay National High School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
Yes. With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions. House Bill number 6660 is hereby approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6661. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved.
Anak separating the Sapa Anding National High School, Ramon Magsaysay Extension and Barangay Poblacion, Municipality of Ramon Magsaysay, Province of Zamboanga del Sur, from the Sapa Anding Agricultural Vocational Technical School, converting it into an independent national school to be known as the Ramon Magsaysay National High School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
Yes. With 22 affirmative votes, with 0 abstentions, 0 negative votes, House Bill number 6661 is hereby approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move to consider House Bill number 6668. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, motion is approved. Please proceed, Secretary.
Anak separating the Mariana Peralta National High School, Datu Danuata Extension and Barangay Datu Danuata, Municipality of Malita, Province of Davao Occidental, from the Mariana Peralta National High School, converting it into an independent national high school to be known as the Gaspar Danuata National High School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6668 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6699. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, motion is approved. Secretary, please proceed.
Anak separating the Adang Elementary School, ang Batutong Extension ng Barangay Bunot, Municipality of Paracelis, Province of Mountain Province, from the Adang Elementary School, converting it into an independent elementary school to be known as the Ambatutong Elementary School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6699 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6700.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved. May we ask the Secretary to read the title of the measure.
Anak separating the Bacoor National High School, Tabing Dagat Annex in Barangay Tabing Dagat, Bacoor City, Province of Cavite, from the Bacoor National High School, converting it into an independent national high school to be known as the Mariano Gomez National High School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6700 is hereby approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6663. So moved, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved. Secretary, please proceed.
Anak converting the Bukid Elementary School in Barangay Bukid, Municipality of Jose Abad Santos, Province of Davao Occidental, into an integrated school to be known as the Bukid Integrated School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
There being 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6663 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6664. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, please proceed, Secretary.
Anak converting the Tribal Filipino School of Tambelang, known as the TFS of Tambelang Elementary School in Barangay Dato, Danuata, Municipality of Malita, Province of Davao Occidental, into an integrated school to be known as the TFS of Tambelang Integrated School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6664 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6665. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, please proceed, Secretary.
Anak converting the Kidamang Elementary School in Barangay Calbay, Municipality of Jose Abad Santos, Province of Davao Occidental, into an integrated school to be known as the Kidaman Integrated School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6665 approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6695. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, the majority floor leader, motion is approved. Secretary, please proceed.
Anak converting the Hibawan Elementary School in Barangay Hibawan Sur, Mandurriao District, Iloilo City, into an integrated school to be known as the Hibawan Integrated School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6695 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6696. So moved, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved. Secretary, please proceed.
Anak converting the Nabitasan Elementary School in Barangay Nabitasan, La Paz District, Iloilo City into an integrated school to be known as the Nabitasan Integrated School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6696 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6669. So moved, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved. Please proceed, Secretary.
Anak establishing a national high school in Barangay Mabca, Municipality of Sagnay, Province of Camarines Sur, to be known as the Mabca National High School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6669 is approved on third reading.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6697. So moved, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved. Please proceed, Secretary.
Anak establishing a national high school in Barangay Bolila, Municipality of Malita, Province of Davao Occidental, to be known as the Bolila National High School and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstentions, House Bill number 6697 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we proceed with the reference of business. So moved, Mr. President.
There be no objection to the motion, motion is approved. Secretary, please proceed with the reference of business.
Bills on first reading, Senate Number 2009, amending RA 10583 and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Marcos.
Refer to Committee on Higher Technical Vocational Education.
2010, creating a barangay to be known as Barangay Legodon in the Municipality of Esperanza, Province of Sultan Kudarat. Senator Marcos.
Committees on Local Government, Electoral Reforms, and People's Participation.
2011, establishing a Philippine Science High School campus in the Municipality of Labangan, Province of Zamboanga del Sur as part of Zamboanga Peninsula Region Campus, appropriating funds therefore. Senator Marcos.
Refer to Committee on Rules.
2012, creating a barangay to be known as Barangay Libuton in the Municipality of Sawata, Province of Davao del Norte. Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Rules.
2013, establishing the National Framework for Water Resource Management and creating the Department of Water Resources and the Water Regulatory Commission, defining their mandates, powers, and functions, appropriating funds therefore for other purposes. Senator Villanueva.
Committees on Public Service, Public Services, Civil Service, and Finance.
2014, transferring the control and supervision of the provincial and sub-provincial jails to the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, amending for the purpose certain provisions of RA 6975 as amended and for other purposes. Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Public Order, Dangerous Drugs, and Local Government.
2015, declaring the Kaparkan Falls located in Barangay Caganayan, Municipality of Tinik, Province of Abra, an ecotourism site, establishing the Kaparkan Falls Development Council. Senator Estrada.
Committees on Tourism, Environment, Natural Resources, and Finance.
2016, modernizing the Philippine Coast Guard, creating for the purpose the Philippine Coast Guard Modernization Trust Fund, appropriating funds for Senator Estrada.
Committees of Public Service, National Defense, and Finance.
Resolutions, proposed Senate Resolution 549, directing the appropriate Senate committees to conduct an inquiry on the impacts of natural extreme events, disasters, and climate change on the agricultural sector and the state of the government's agricultural insurance program. Senator Villanueva.
Committees on Agriculture and Food and Government Corporations and Public Enterprise.
550, commending and congratulating Filipino actress Dolly Earnshaw de Leon for winning acting trophies from the various international award-giving bodies, scoring historic nominations, and for her success in the international film circuit. Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Rules, this additional reference of business, please proceed.
Additional reference of business, bills on first reading, Senate number 2017, creating the National Education Council, defining its powers and functions, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Basic Education, Higher Technical Education, and Finance.
2018, providing for a legislated wage hike in the private sector and for other purposes. Senator Revilla Jr.
Committee on Labor and Employment, Resource Development.
Resolution, Senate Concurrent Resolution number 9, concurrent resolution granting consent to Senate President pro tempore Loren Legarda to accept the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Biodiversity Heroes Award conferred upon her by the ASEAN. Senator Villanueva.
To the Committee on Rules, and congratulations to our distinguished Senate President pro tempore for that.
551, resolution commending and recognizing Filipino Olympian boxer Charlie Coronel Suarez for his recent win in Sydney, Australia. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
552, recognizing and commemorating the 75th anniversary of the establishment of the State of Israel on May 14, 2023. Senator Villanueva.
Committee on Rules.
Committee reports. Committee report number 56, jointly by the Committees on Migrant Workers and Foreign Relations, speech of Senator Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada on the case of Julie B. Ranara and PS Resolution number 448. Resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation to revisit, re-examine, and review the existing bilateral agreement and start an employment contract governing OFWs in Kuwait with the end in view of establishing stricter policies, preventive measures, and applicable sanctions or ban in the deployment of OFWs in Kuwait. Recommending the adoption of this report and the implementation of its recommendations, sponsor Senator Tulfo.
To the calendar for ordinary business.
Committee Report 57 by the Committee on Labor, Employment, and Human Resources and Development on Senate number 2019 with Senators Legarda, Angara, Tolentino, Revilla Jr., and Estrada as authors thereof, entitled An Act Instituting Policies for the Protection and Welfare of Caregivers in the Practice of Their Profession, recommending its approval in substitution of Senate numbers 828, 1002, 1396, 1430, and 1440, taking into consideration House number 227, sponsor Senator Estrada.
To the calendar for ordinary business.
Committee Report 58 by the Committees on Banks, Financial Institutions and Currencies, Government Corporations and Public Enterprises, Ways and Means and Finance on Senate number 2020 with Senators Villar M. and Tulfo as authors. An act establishing the Maharlika Investment Fund, providing for the management, investment, and use of the proceeds of the fund and for other purposes, recommending its approval in substitution of Senate numbers 1670 and 1814, taking into consideration House number 6608. Sponsor Senator Villar M.
To the calendar for ordinary business. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we transfer from the calendar for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders, Committee Report number 58 on Senate Bill number 2020. This is the bill on Maharlika Investment Fund Act of 2023. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we consider Senate Bill number 2020 under Committee Report number 58.
There being no objection, motion is approved. We ask Secretary to read the title.
An act establishing the Maharlika Investment Fund, providing for the management, investment, and use of the proceeds of the fund and for other purposes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, to sponsor the measure, may we recognize Senator Mark Villar, Chairperson of the Committees on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies, to deliver the sponsorship speech.
We recognize the distinguished chairperson of the Committee on Banks and Financial Institutions, Senator Mark Villar, to sponsor.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is my honor and privilege to sponsor Senate Bill number 1670 under otherwise known as the Maharlika Investment Fund Act. The Philippine economy is now at a critical period of recovery and growth. Before the pandemic, the country was heading towards becoming one of the fastest rising economies in the region. The government was able to bring infrastructure development back to the fore after years of underinvestment. Our fiscal health was stronger than ever, with our debt to the GDP ratio reaching a record low 39.6% in 2019. Reforms to improve our tax system and ease of doing business allowed us to build a business environment conducive to long-term growth. Our strong macroeconomic fundamentals enabled us to provide support to those who need it most during the pandemic without significantly compromising our fiscal health. But the journey towards our long-term goals of reducing poverty and raising the quality of life for all Filipinos may take much longer if we do not put in the right investments that will give the Philippine economy the momentum to zoom forward. With high inflation and slower economic growth threatening both developed and emerging economies globally, we have to train our eyes to the future. As policymakers, we have to take bold steps towards exploring measures that will contribute to high growth that cannot be easily reversed by external headwinds and future crises. For this reason, I am urging my fellow lawmakers to consider the passage of the Maharlika Investment Fund Act. This is a timely measure that should be given utmost attention and urgency by this Congress. As the Philippines' first ever sovereign wealth fund, it is designed to catalyze economic development by mobilizing government financial assets that are otherwise limited in use by current legal frameworks. With the fund's dual objectives of optimizing financial returns and accelerating the development of infrastructure and other priority projects in key sectors, this will be an important instrument to generate consistent and stable investment returns to advance the Philippines' long-term development goals. The Maharlika Investment Fund will support the administration's economic goals set in the medium-term fiscal framework, the 8-point socio-economic agenda, and the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028 in a way that will ease the pressure on the government's fiscal space. The Maharlika Investment Fund will quicken the implementation of NEDA-endorsed infrastructure projects, in particular, big-ticket infrastructure such as in green and blue projects, countryside development, and other employment-generating projects. Key examples include public road networks, tollways, green energy, water, agro-industrial ventures, and telecommunications. These critical infrastructures offer high-return investments and greater socio-economic impact on the economy. Just this month, the NEDA Board, which is chaired by the President, approved 194 high-impact priority projects under the new infrastructure flagship project list for the Build Better More program. The Maharlika Investment Fund will play a key role in accelerating the implementation of these big-ticket projects. Some of our big-ticket priority projects may be undertaken by Maharlika Investment Corporation through co-investments with global financial institutions and multilateral partners, opening another corridor for foreign direct investments. This is especially significant considering that the Philippines will soon lose its access to official development status as the country graduates to upper middle income status. Moreover, sovereign wealth funds are tried and tested investment vehicles used by governments in developed and emerging countries to achieve their economic goals. Having our own sovereign wealth fund will grant us access to the world's sovereign wealth fund community, which is abundant in opportunities for co-financing and knowledge transfer. In fact, more than 50 countries already have their own sovereign wealth funds. Some examples include Indonesia, Vietnam, and Kenya. The Indonesia Investment Authority, or INA in particular, is often cited as the ideal model for the Philippines, as it was used for investing in big-ticket infrastructure projects. Now, allow me to clarify the capitalization requirement for the establishment of the MIF. The initial capitalization of the Maharlika Investment Corporation will come from the investable funds of the Land Bank of the Philippines and the Development Bank of the Philippines, as well as the contributions of the national government. The latter will include dividend remittances of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the national government share of PAGCOR's income, and proceeds from privatization and the transfer of assets. Other sources such as royalties and special assessments may be tapped as well. Land Bank's investment to the Maharlika Investment Corporation will only account for around 3.7% of the investable funds, while the DPP's investment will be equivalent to around 3% of its investable funds. Excuse me. These GFIs are likely to earn more than what they are earning now, considering that they are investing in conservative instruments such as government securities. Excuse me. Oo nga. Time out. Sige. Time out. The involvement of these GFIs as contributors of the initial seed fund is reasonable and will not crowd out the other lending obligations that they need to fulfill under the respective mandates. In fact, the expected return of Maharlika, which is estimated to be around 8.6% on average, is much higher than their cost of capital and the return in their current investment placements. Globally, capitalization of sovereign wealth funds is no longer limited to surplus revenues generated by natural resources. It also includes varying sources, including budgetary contributions, as in the case of the Indonesia Investment Authority. As a government-owned and controlled corporation, the Maharlika Investment Corporation will be run professionally and on a commercial basis. It will pay taxes, be governed by the Government Procurement Reform Act and its rules, and shall be subject to the provisions of the GOCC Governance Act of 2011. To ensure that these gains will be realized, the fund will be established with the highest standards of accountability, fiscal responsibility, and good governance. The proposed fund will adhere to the Santiago Principles, which pertain to the generally accepted principles and practices to ensure the effective operations of sovereign wealth funds globally, and will be governed by the relevant investment and risk management guidelines. The Maharlika Investment Corporation will be governed by a board of directors with 9 members. The Secretary of Finance will serve as the chairperson, while the CEO of the Maharlika Investment Corporation will be the vice chairperson. Members include the President and CEO of the Land Bank of the Philippines and Development Bank of the Philippines, 2 regular directors, and 3 independent directors from the private sector. The economic team will work closely with the fund's administrators as its advisory board to help ensure that they will comply with proper financial reporting and auditing standards. This is also to align investment decisions with fiscal and monetary policies. The advisory board shall be composed of the Secretary of the Department of Budget and Management, the Secretary of National Economic and Development Authority, and the National Treasurer. To ensure a level playing field, the exemptions and privileges were removed from the originally fined bill. The transactions and assets of the MIC and the MIF shall be subject to local and national taxes. Other than matters relating to the organization structure, staffing pattern, and compensation structure, the MIC shall be subject to the provisions of RA number 10149, or the GOCC Act of 2011. All procurement activities shall be subject to and governed by the provisions of RA number 1984, or the Government Procurement Reform Act, except in the engagement of professional or technical services necessary for the selection of investments. Now, in order to ensure accountability and proper governance of the fund, several layers of oversights will be put in place. First, the board is required to appoint an internal auditor, which shall be independent from the management of the MIC and shall be under the direct control and supervision of the board of directors. Second, An internationally recognized audit firm will serve as the external auditor for the fund to audit its financial statements. Third, the books and accounts of the fund shall be subject to the strict examination by the Commission on Audit. Fourth, a joint congressional oversight committee will be constituted to oversee, monitor, and evaluate the implementation of the MIF Act. This committee shall be composed of 5 members each from the House of Representatives and the Senate. Finally, as an additional measure for transparency, all documents of the fund and the Maharlika Investment Corporation shall be open, available, and accessible to the public. Mr. President, I would like to emphasize that the Maharlika Investment Fund has the potential to bring back the Philippines to its high growth trajectory through investments in the country's developmental projects. Not only will this promote the effective intergenerational management of the country's financial resources, but more importantly, improve the welfare of future generations of Filipinos. Ultimately, the Philippines will benefit from a well-structured, robust, and effective sovereign wealth fund. The Maharlika Investment Fund has the potential to attract foreign investments, boost national savings, and advance economic growth for Filipinos across generations. And with that, I would like to solicit your full support for the passage of this bill. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you very much to distinguished sponsor. And once again, we welcome all the secretaries who are here in support of this measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, to allow our colleagues to further study the measure, I move that we suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 2020 under Committee Report number 58. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved. The consideration is suspended. May I ask for a 1-minute suspension so I may approach the...
Yes, Mr. President, a minute
Session
suspension,
suspended.
please. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture and with the permission of the body, I move to consider proposed Senate Resolution number 429, taking into consideration proposed Senate Resolution number 430, and for the Secretary to read the title of the measure.
There
This
be
is-
no objection? Yes.
Yes, Mr. President, this is the resolution commending Filipino students at the World International Mathematical Olympiad.
There be no objection to the motion. Motion is approved. Please proceed, Secretary, to read the title of the measure.
Resolution congratulating the 19 Filipino students who were awarded gold medals at the World International Mathematical Olympiad.
Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I be allowed to sponsor the measure, Mr. President?
Yes, the distinguished Majority Leader is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues. Today, I am deeply honored to sponsor Senate Resolution number 429, commending our 19 Matinic mathletes who swept the gold medals and world championships in the World International Mathematical Olympiad 2022 finals held last January 7 to 8, 2023 in Bangkok, Thailand. Marami po sa atin, Ginoong Pangulo, kapag naririnig ang simpleng salitang mathematics, ay nakakahugot na samot-saring mga emosyon. Lalo na po siguro yung tinatawag na kaba, takot, at despair. Pero klarong-klaro po, hindi ito ang naramdaman ng ating mga estudyante na kasama po natin ngayon mula sa iba't ibang paaralan sa NCR, Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Mr. President, naririto po sa bulwagang ito ang tatlong world champions sa katatapos lamang na World International Mathematics Olympiad 2022 na nakakuha ng pinakamataas na score sa kani-kanilang grade levels na sina Alexandra Brian Gochian from St. Jude Catholic School para sa senior secondary group. Narito din po si Harvey James Dollar from Philippine Science High School, main campus para sa Secondary 3 Group, at Mateo Inigo Esposia from Genesis Christian Academy para sa Primary 5 Group. Kasama rin po nila ang ating mga World International Mathematical Olympiad gold medalists na sina Kaiser Charlton Chuaso, Skyler B. Uy, Linaya Amethyst Flores, Lord Gray Latido, Liam Spark Peña Palarca, Lynette Micaela B. Muldes, Agatha Maria Eden Nunag, Skyler Icarus Flores, Zach Andre Delara, Janelle Nika Lee, Princess Abby Aquino, Arwin Peter Castro, Ivan Justin Panergo, Matt Raymond Ayento, Matthew Charles Carpio, at Ray Stephen Chua. Ginoong Pangulo, no other name is more apt for this competition other than the Battle of the Golds. One should be a gold medalist in the Hong Kong International Mathematical Olympiad, Thailand International Mathematical Olympiad, or the Guangdong Greater Bay Area Mathematical Olympiad, just to be eligible. I will repeat it again, Mr. President, just to be eligible to participate in the prestigious World International Mathematical Olympiad. Mr. President, these mathletes, through their grit and hard work, superbly stood out among gold medalists from 14 countries as they competed in logical thinking, arithmetic or algebra, number theory, geometry, and combinatorics. This great celebration becomes more meaningful as we implement educational programs and reforms to improve our learners' knowledge and skills, critical for the 21st century world. Mr. President, I couldn't help but remember an old adage. Life is a math equation. In order to gain the most, you have to know how to convert negatives into positives. Mr. President, the dismal results the country has received in PISA, or Program for International Student Assessment, and TIMSS, or the trends in international mathematics and science study, now became the solid springboard which drew up a clear direction for the future of the Philippine educational system, which is now being shaped by the Education Commission, headed by our chairman, Senator Win Gatchalian. We just had a technical joint meeting last Thursday, Mr. President, with Senators Angara and Cayetano, Mr. President. With this math-terrific Filipino students, we can see a bright future for math, for STEM, for education, and for the Philippines as a whole. Kaya sa mga kabataang ito na nakakuha ng mga gintong medalya sa World International Mathematical Olympiad 2022, kasama po ang kanilang mga magulang na naririto rin, Ginoong Pangulo, na buong buo ang suporta sa kanilang mga pangarap. Gayon din po sa kanilang mga guro, coaches, sponsors, at sa Math Olympiads Training League Incorporated. Sa pangunguna ni Engineer Karen C. at Miss Eileen Ganancial, sa kanilang lahat, nababanaag po natin ang pag-asa na kayang-kaya nating itaas ang antas ng edukasyon sa ating minamahal na bansa. Again, Mr. President, my biggest congratulations to these young people who bore the Philippine flag and decorated it with gold as they traverse the whole world. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo, at pagpalain tayong lahat ng ating Panginoong Diyos.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader. Anong sinabi mo sa speech mo? Life is like a mathematical equation.
Equation, Mr.
Kaya pala
President.
napakahirap ng buhay.
It's a challenge, Mr.
Napakahirap.
President.
It's a challenge.
Always a challenge.
Trigonometry pala yun. At saka
To make the
algebra.
negatives positives,
Oh
Mr.
boy.
President.
That's
Mr.
why life
President,
is difficult.
at this juncture, may we recognize the distinguished gentleman from the great province of Cavite, Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr., to co-sponsor the measure.
Our distinguished colleague, Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I join our colleagues in honoring our young math wizards for their impressive medal haul in the World International Mathematical Olympiad. Masasabing isa sa pinakamahirap na subject ang math. Subalit, ipinamalas ng 178 nating delegado sa Thailand ang kanilang husay sa naganap na kompetisyon ng pagalingan sa matematika. Sa murang edad, ang kanilang galing sa numero ay tunay namang world-class. Our team's exemplary win gained 138 medals in total, 19 gold, 52 silver, 67 bronze, besting 13 other countries that qualified for WIMO 2023. Sa musmus nilang edad, pinatunayan nila na tunay na math-tinik ang kabataang Pinoy. Na kahit pa tayo ay tinuturing na third world country, ang hanay ng ating mga kabataan ay maituturing na first class at tunay na maipagmamalaki. Kayang makipagsabayan, kayang makipagpaligsahan at kayang magwagi sa laban sa ibang mga bansa. Kahanga-hanga ang kanilang naging tagumpay, Mr. President. Sa ating mga batang math geniuses, ang aking pagsaludo sa bawat isa sa inyo. Ipagpatuloy nyo ang paghasa ng inyong galing at ipinagmamalaki namin kayo. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Thank you, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat po. Our Minority Floor Leader, our resident mathematician, would like to make a short manifestation. Yes, Senator
Just
Coco.
With the indulgence, Mr. President, of our
Thank you,
good
Mr.
Senator,
President, and thank you
Senator
to
Bato.
Senator Bato for giving me just an impromptu speech, Mr. President, to also congratulate our mathematicians. I only reached the Metro Manila Olympiad level, so our honorees reached the World Math Olympiad level. So congratulations to all of you, and I'm sure that the questions asked of you, I can no longer solve, Mr. President. But just to tell our young mathematicians that nandito po kami, titos and titas are here to help you, to help our math enthusiasts and Olympians. And I hope that you will serve as good role models, because we are faring poorly in math, science, and reading international tests. So our students really need some models to look up to, and then make them interested in science and math. So congratulations once again, and let me also congratulate, Mr. President, our majority leader for filing the resolution to honor them. Thank you,
Thank you, Minority Leader, our resident mathematician. Mr. President, next to co-sponsor the measure is the distinguished gentleman from Davao Region and the province of Bohol, no other than Senator Ronald, Mr. President. Ronald Bato
Ronald.
de la Rosa, Mr. President.
Our distinguished colleague from Mindanao and the Visayas, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. President, I rise today to co-sponsor Senate Resolution number 429, congratulating the 19 Filipino students who were awarded gold medals at the World International Mathematical Olympiad. Pakahibigat na competition ito, Mr. President. Mathematical na, world pa. There is an online article entitled, "Why Filipino Students Hate Math." The word is not even dislike, Mr. President. The word used in the article is hate. Kinamumuhian ng maraming mag-aaral ang matematika. Maraming estudyante ang nahihirapan sa math. Among the reasons identified, kasama na ako doon, Mr. President, sa mga estudyante na yun. When I enrolled at the Mindanao State University, yung aking kurso na in-enroll, kasi naging scholar ako doon, Mr. President, I was Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. After the first semester, hirap na hirap ako sa Math 17. Parang almost pasang-awa, 3, yung nakuha ko. So realizing that I will not be able to maintain the required average grade in order for me to maintain my scholarship, so I decided to shift to another course na walang mathematics, yung BS Public Administration, Mr. President. Walang math. Kaya umahanga talaga ako sa mga batang ito. Kaya napilitan talaga akong mag-co-sponsor sa kanilang galing. Maraming among the reasons identified in the article is the pressure and anxiety that envelop the teaching of math. And it is also this pressure and anxiety that gets handed down from parents, teachers, down to our children and their students. Sa tingin ko, Mr. President, marami sa mga kabataan ay natatakot sa math dahil natatakot silang magkamali. Marahil naranasan nilang mapahiya o mapagalitan dahil nagkamali sila. I think it is in this space of being open to making mistakes that our children can begin to learn to love mathematics. Kapag nakita nila na ang pagkakamali ay bahagi ng pagkatuto at kapag nakita nila ang kahalagahan ng math, lalo na pagdating sa problem solving, mas maintindihan din nila na ang galing sa math ay nasusukat sa kakayahan ng isang taong tanggapin ang pagkakamali at mas pagbutihin na ang gawain sa susunod na pagkakataon. Mr. President, sina Alexandra Gutierrez, Harvey Dular, Mateo Esposia, Kaiser Chua Su, Skyler Lon Uy, Linaya Flores, Lord Gray Latido, Liam Spark Palarca, Lynette Micaela Moldes, Agata Maria Nunag, Skyler Icaros Flores, Zach Andre Dilara, Janelle Naika Lee, Princess Abby Aquino, Arwin Peter Castro, Ivan Justin Panergo, Matt Raymond Ayento, Matthew Charles Carpio, at Ray Stephen Chua. Naway magsilbi silang mabuting halimbawa sa lahat ng kabataang Pinoy, hindi lamang dahil sa mga gold medal nila o dahil magaling sila sa math, kundi dahil gumaling sila sa math, dahil din gusto nilang matuto. In the end, Mr. President, I look forward to the day when Filipino students will no longer hate math for being difficult, but will instead love it for never failing to pose a challenge. Thank you, Mr. President, at congratulations sa inyo, mga anak. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, our distinguished colleague from Davao. Totoo yung sinabi ni Senator Bato de la Rosa, yung course ko din sa college, pumasok ako sa course na kala ko iisa lang yung math subject, Math 11. Yun yung agribusiness management dun sa UP Los Baños. Marami palang math dun. Buti magaling po yung aking mga teachers at natutunan ko naman makapasa na Math 11 and Math 26. I think it was Math 26. Tapos pasok naman yung statistics, Diyos ko, ganun din. Puro numero nakita ko. So napakahirap. That's why saludo ako sa mga math champions na ito. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, sabi po nung isang awardee natin, madali daw po yung math kasi walang memorization. Mr. President, at this juncture and with the permission of the body, I move that all members of the Senate be made co-authors of this resolution. So move, Mr. President.
There be no objection to the motion. Motion is approved.
Mr. President, no other member wishes to interpolate or propose amendments to the measure. I move that we adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 429, taking into consideration proposed Senate Resolution number 430, subject to style. So move, Mr. President.
Before I act on the motion, I just want to react also to the statement of Senator Coco na hindi na natin alam yung mga mathematical problems na yun. Totoo po yan because now it's more situational math. It's called Singapore math. So they give you a situation and there will be several equations to that situation. Kaya nung nanghingi po ng tulong sa akin yung aking mga anak, pati grade school lang yun, agad-agad pagtingin ko sa mga questions, sigaw ka agad ako, Mama, Audrey, sana yung asawa ko. Dahil medyo mahirap na nga na yun. But I think this is good for our population, this is good for our children, and as Senator Pimentel had said, and all our sponsors, these now will become inspirations to a lot of children to learn to love math. So, without further ado, there be no objection to the motion of the Majority Leader. This resolution is hereby adopt aforementioned resolutions.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, may we ask for a minute suspension and ask our awardees to
Join us
go
on
and
the
join
podium.
you there, Mr. President,
Before I
for the
ask for
photo
a minute
opportunity.
suspension, may I just ask my colleagues, my distinguished colleagues on the floor, that we will immediately have a caucus, a very important caucus. I need to discuss some important things with the members of the Senate. Session suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. with the consent of the body, I move that the explanation of vote of Senator Ontiveros on Senate Bill number 1594 or the OTOP Act be inserted into the record. So move, Mr. President.
There be no objection, motion is approved.
Mr. President, at this juncture, and with the consent of the body and conformity of Senator Sani Angara, I move that Senator Lauren Legarda be made co-author of the following bills. Senate Bill number 1166, the Pag-asa Island Ecotourism Cluster and Protected Area. Senate Bill number 1615, Baler in the province of Aurora as the birthplace of Philippine surfing.
There be no objection, motion is approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, with the permission of the body, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions on Senate Bill number 1841 and House Bill number 5110 pertaining to the bill on strengthening the conservation and protection of Philippine cultural heritage. So move, Mr. President.
There be no objection to the motion. The following members are hereby designated the Senate conferees to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of Senate Bill number 1841 and 5110. These are Senator Lauren Legarda as chairperson, Senator Maria Lourdes Nancy Binay, and Senator Coco Pimentel III on the part of the minority.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yep.
Mr. President, I move that we adjourn the session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, March 21, 2023. So move, Mr. President.
There be no objection to the motion, Majority Floor Leader. The session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Tuesday, March 21, 2023. Maraming salamat and have a pleasant evening, everyone.